Pixel Pizza,
Did she say pizza?
your ultimate source for chiptunes, video game talk, and pepperoni. Delivered to you from Los Angeles and into the digital cyberspace of the 2020s.
Pizza power!
That's right, one super giant pizza.
I want a large, thick crust with double cheese, ham, pepperoni. Hey, where's my pizza? Pizza time.
Welcome back to Pixel Pizza. We are back after a 1-week hiatus for vacation. This is your DJ host, Jared, and we are back, and I'm very excited to be speaking with this week's guest. You just heard a track from him, and it is off the new album, Level Select, and the track, it was the title track, Level Select, from our guest, accomplished composer, channeling the PS1 Dreamcast era. Very excited. And he goes by Pizza Hotline. His name is Harvey Jones. How you doing, Harvey?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. Lovely to be here and good to be invited on. Thanks.
Absolutely. So glad we could work this out. So I like to start off my show, you've listened to the show, you would know this, by asking, when in your life did you know you wanted to do, I guess for you, like game adjacent stuff?
That's a good question. You mean game adjacent music?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's probably around the time I was quite late. So like I was about 26, 27. 28 now. So it was quite recent actually.
Oh, wow.
But I was very young when I started making music. But yeah, it was very recent that I realized that I wanted to make video game inspired music. But I've been, as I said, I've been making music for a long time. I think I've been making music since I was about 14, 13. Some people are like, oh, I was playing the piano when I was 1, but that wasn't me. I wasn't really into music when I was really young. I didn't really care about it at all. I didn't think I'd enjoy it. And then I think I was about 13 and I bought an album on CD. I bought the Gorillaz' first album.
Oh,
I think, such a great one with the Jeep on the front. It's amazing, isn't it? And I think a lot of people my age, are you the same age as me?
I'm 1 year older, 29.
Cool. So you would have been around when it was released.
Yeah.
So a lot of people our age were probably introduced to, I guess I'll call it semi-electronic music through that album. Or I guess you could call it electronic music. It's semi, let's say. I was about 13 when I bought that from Sainsbury's. It's a boring old supermarket we have in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I realized I liked music in general. Because before then I didn't really care about it, which is funny, isn't it? And then when I know I've always been a huge video gamer, but when I was about 21, video games kind of went into the background when I became seriously obsessed with music, and I got really into electronic music, like dance music and parties and DJing and stuff. And video games just took a huge backseat in my life, and I kind of stopped playing them for a bit. And then when I was about 25, 6, 7, that's when I started to get back into video games in a massive way. And that is when I realized I wanted to make video game music, video game sound design, and kind of explore the amazing synergy that sound and video games have with each other.
Absolutely. Awesome. Was that like a pandemic inspired thing where you started to get back into games?
Yeah. Was it pandemic inspired? Definitely the pandemic helped it. I went to a friend's house and they just bought a Switch. I think it was before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just in the corner, like buzzing away. And I looked at it and I thought to myself, oh my God, can I swear? No, I shouldn't swear, but I was about to, I used to friggin' love games. And I just saw that thing and I looked at it, and like, as I was looking at it, I had this crazy rush of memories from like just my life of how much I enjoyed games, and I'd completely forgotten about how much I loved them. And I turned to my girlfriend. I was like, "Should we get one of those?" And she was like, "Yeah, all right." And then so we bought a Switch, and it wasn't really the mainstream AAA games on the Switch that kind of got me into games in a very extreme way. It was more the indie games.
Oh yeah.
Because they're a bit more realistic in terms of like, oh, maybe I could try getting involved with making some of this one day. You know, with AAA games, they seem so intangible. They seem like they're made made by a bunch of aliens who are like so skilled they're not even human. You know, so and yeah, I really got into the indie games on the Switch and the sounds in those. But yeah, definitely pandemic led. And my album was made exclusively in the pandemic, and as a result of the pandemic, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you, on the Switch, have you played Anodyne 2?
No.
Oh,
What is
that
that?
is exactly a game that you would enjoy.
Okay.
It's a sequel to an 8-bit game, but it's done in like a PS1 free roaming style, and it's
Oh,
such
wow.
a
I'm
cool
just looking at some screenshots. That looks
Yes.
like a stunner. I've seen this, you know, like, you know, surfing the eShop,
Yeah,
surfing through the piles of junk they have on there. Not that I'm
I
saying this is
know.
junk.
It's
just
hard
like,
to filter. It's the popularity of the system is great, but it's just it can get tough without like word of mouth.
yeah, it can. And this is what I need actually. Anodyne. I'm gonna write this down. I'm gonna check that out. I love the look of it.
Yeah, it's great.
You know, this game called Anodyne 2, isn't it? This game called Shadow Man.
Yeah, that was like the old game.
It's the old game. I think that's just recently come to the Switch. And
Yeah, I
it's
got a
aged
remaster.
so badly. But I love it. It has buckets of character,
Oh,
and
for
the
sure.
sounds great. And yeah, I'm going to check this Anodyne game out. Thank you very much.
No problem. Yeah. So I think a question that I had specifically for you, getting into that more now, is that what do you think makes that kind of late 90s jungle drum and bass sound still resonate with people now today?
It's a good question. That it is very fashionable at the moment. Or maybe fashionable isn't the right word. Let me just put my phone on silent. It's buzzing. It's definitely come back around, and I've kind of been plugged in to at least the UK electronic music scene for the last 10 years, quite plugged in. And I've seen, at least from my perspective, the last 5 years has been very house and techno led.
Mhm.
And it's only the last 2 years where breakbeat era style music has come back into the underground mainstream. At least that's my perspective. Everyone has their own perspective, especially with tailored news feeds these days. But what makes it, one of the things that I think is that because this style of music was in a lot of video games, there's people who are mine and your age at the moment who are just starting to like get to that age where we really want to re-explore our teen years.
Oh, yeah.
And I think for me, that's the appeal. That's what's brought me into it. And I think maybe a lot of other people are feeling that way, like the 90s liquid jungle type of thing. It was around when I was a kid. I heard it so much, but I just didn't understand what it was. And now I'm revisiting this style of music with new, fresh ears, with a bit more knowledge and hearing things that I didn't really understand before. And that's a pleasurable thing, I guess. And maybe there's other people who are into it. But as for the reason that it's pouring into the electronic music mainstream, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, maybe it is kind of nostalgia. Maybe it is. I definitely agree when you go back to stuff that you enjoyed as a kid or just sort of kind of went over your head, and going into it with a more informed perspective, it can be
Totally
really interesting to dig into.
Yeah, that's totally right. And actually what you said reminded me of something I heard on this podcast called Retronauts. I'm not sure if you heard
Oh,
of it.
yeah. Jeremy Parrish. Awesome.
Yeah, great podcast. And I think he said, he's really funny. He was like, on one episode, he's like, we've been stuck in a weird 80s nostalgia vortex for the last 25 years. Or something like that. I think I mentioned that on another interview I've done, but it's just something that resonates with me. And one of my favorite music makers of all time is called Soichi Terada. He did the soundtrack for Ape Escape.
Oh, sure.
And he said once that it's always this 20-year loop of what happened 20 years ago is always in fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're just getting to that time where we're heading into the 2020s, and the noughties seem just that far enough away to seem rose tinted and interesting, probably more interesting than it was at the time.
Right.
And like they say, like in the noughties, the 80s was big, and in the 2010s, the 90s was big. I don't know. I don't know a lot about this kind of stuff, but it's an interesting insight regardless. And maybe that's what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I hadn't heard that before, but I can totally see it now. And so also in regards to interviews you had done, I heard one where you were talking about sort of the process behind your latest album, Level Select. And you mentioned that you did a lot of research into old games, and particularly kind of lost and forgotten ones that had that sound you were looking for. And I was wondering if there were any particular ones that people haven't really heard of that inspired you.
Totally, yeah. There's the obvious ones which I won't mention, but yeah, I've actually there's some really amazing ones, and the research I was doing, I didn't even realize at the time it was actually research. It was just me looking for music, but retrospectively that was me researching it, I guess. But to give it that word makes it seem more boring, doesn't it? But so I was digging on this website called Zophar's Domain.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, whoever Zophar is, they are an absolute legend, because they're cataloging all of this otherwise lost music. There's another website that does it too, but I prefer Zophar's Domain. And I was digging on there for music, and I was also digging on YouTube, but not all of it's on YouTube. And I think that's one of the reasons it really excited me, because a lot of it feels lost and mysterious. And we all like a mystery, and like we all like things that we can't have. Human beings love things that they can't have. I get, especially if you're a man, us men seem to be like that. I built this YouTube playlist on YouTube, and it was just, people build playlists of music they like, and I just called it Level Select because I had this idea. I had this romantic idea that like there is this functional music that at the time was purely built as a function, as something just to fill a gap. But now when we look back, we look at this music and we think, wow, that's really cool. And not only is it cool, it is like a blueprint for very important music that came after it. So I'm talking about electronic music or electronic dance music. And I got that originally from the Bomberman Hero soundtrack. I listened to that and went, God damn it, there's some really important ideas here in this like early jungle, early drum and bass stuff. And same for Ape Escape. Those are the obvious ones. So I dug and dug and dug, and I built this playlist, and it's called, you can find it on YouTube. I think what you have to type in is, it's private and it's on my other channel, but you can find it. You type in Harvey Jones Level Select. I think you'll find it. I'm just going to look for it now.
I'll see if I can add a link to that in the description, listeners.
Yeah, definitely. So there's 170 tunes on it. And I built this playlist over the course of a year, and it is just full of stuff that is basically my sonic mood board for what I then made into an album. And some of my favorites are, there's this game called Sheep Raider. It's like a Looney Tunes game, I think.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, PS1. In the States, it was called Sheep Raider. But in PAL territory, it was called Sheepdog and Wolf. And you play as Wile E. Coyote, and you have to steal sheep from this sheepdog. And the music is...
I hate to be like a fact checker, but I'm a super huge Looney Tunes nerd. That was my favorite thing growing up. And that was not Wile E. Coyote. That was his cousin, Ralph Wolf. And
no way!
Always had the way less interesting cartoons than Wile E. Coyote. And the only difference between them visually is like Ralph has a red nose, Wile E. Coyote has a black nose.
Oh my God, I never knew. That's so... Why in God's name did they make a second?
I have no idea. It was...
Do you reckon they didn't want to tarnish the reputation of their famous, otherwise famous kind of cartoon character? And they thought, why don't we just make a different one?
Right, that's for the B team.
Yeah. That's so interesting. No, I love that kind of fact checking. Now I can drop that on someone one day. That's so cool. So yeah, you play as Ralph the Wolf, Ralph Wolf, and the music is superb. Um, it's kind of like jazzy, liquidy jazz drum. It's like early drum and bass. It doesn't really sound like it knows where it is in terms of style. It's super raw, but it's very well made and very well put together. So check that one out, Sheep Raider or Sheepdog and Wolf. I think on YouTube it's under Sheep Raider. There is another one called it's a fishing game called Big Old Bass. Yeah, I know. Big Old Bass. That's really basic sounding, dry, almost like some of it's a bit obnoxious, to be honest with you, but the ideas are very pure in terms of drum and bass. And I loved that album. It's really cool. Some of them are very obnoxious, so you'll have to do a lot of track skipping, but you can find that one online. Probably one of my favorites is this Dreamcast game called Mac and X.
Yeah. That was like an Atlas game.
It is, yeah, and I believe it's. I don't know. Is it Shin Megami Tensei?
Yeah.
It's in that universe, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like
Shout out to Derek Bittner. I just watched his retrospective on Shin Megami Tensei and like every single game and spin-off and tangentially related game, and that's where I learned about that game.
Wow. Okay, well, you should play it. It's super cool. It's a first-person sword fighting game, and it is an absolute nightmare to control because you've only got one analog stick on the Dreamcast. But it's a really interesting game with some very like pure ideas, and like it's very ambitious for what it is. And the sound design and the menus look gorgeous. The design of it in a holistic sense is stunning. Like it's all very homogenous, as in like the menus look like the way they sound, and like the music sounds like the way the levels look, and it's just great. I love the whole style of that game. And you can grab the soundtrack. It's pretty available online, but there's some like amazing drum and bass with like rock guitars, and like it's different. It's really, really different. But then there's some ambient stuff, and the whole soundtrack's stunning. I love it. There's another one called Suzuki All-Star Racing. I think that was on the PS2 and the Dreamcast. And that game is like famously dreadful. But the soundtrack is like early psytrance or Goa trance, which is really cool. And then another one I'd recommend people check out is called Wetrix, Wetrix. It was on the N64 and the Dreamcast, and it's a aquaphysics, like early aquaphysics based puzzle game. And the soundtrack is like really cool acid music. It's a bit like Aphex Twin stuff.
Oh yeah.
I really love. That's a great soundtrack, that is. But you'll find all of this music in the YouTube playlist that I made.
Great.
So yeah, those are the ones I'd recommend.
Yeah, and so in addition to the sound of the album, you've also tried to bring back physically what it used to be like, where you've released Level Select now on PS1 discs, Dreamcast discs, cassette tapes. And I was curious, which of those has been the most popular, and which were you first like, I need to have it in this format?
Yeah, I have to thank Tony from City Man Productions. So that's the label that I released a Level Select on initially. He's a great guy, and he's just such an ambitious chap. Like he is the one who inspired me to say, like, why don't we release it on all these funky formats? He was like, the concept is about video games. Why don't we do some video game style physical media? And from there, we just kind of spitballed, what we should do. And we kind of exhausted everything. And so it was the cassettes first, and they went really well. And then it was the PlayStation, the PAL PS1 cases with, Tony even like went that extra mile and found the black bottom black bottom discs. I'm not sure if you had those in the States. Did you have those?
I'm pretty sure we did.
Like in the UK or in Europe, all of the PS1 games, or most of them, had a black bottom CD. And he managed to find a duplicator that would make those. And those were seriously popular, very, very, very popular. And then we did the the Dreamcast ones. We did orange swirl people and blue swirl people. I'm a blue swirl person because I love the, I don't know, I like blue, but in the States you had an orange swirl, right?
Right.
And so we did 2 different types. Those were pretty popular. And then after that, he did Sega Mega Drive, or as you'd call it, Sega Genesis. Sega
Wait,
Mega
it could
Drive.
play on that?
Sorry?
The album could play on a Mega Drive?
I wish. I'll have to explain. So it was just a Genesis box
Oh.
set in where the cartridge is, but it fits so perfectly. It would blow your mind how similar the sizes are of a cassette and a Genesis cartridge. It just fits in there gorgeously. So they're just kind of mock boxes, but with all professional layouts, and they look really great with a manual, with like exclusive artwork in the manual, artwork that was exclusive to that particular release. So yeah, Tony killed it, and he's just an amazing guy, and he continues to do more and more video game themed physical releases on his label, and they're so popular. But I'd probably say the most popular out of all of them was the PS1 discs. I think. Although some people have been putting up the Genesis ones on Discogs for some stupid prices. I hope people aren't paying that, because I hate the thought of someone not being able to have something because it's too much, like especially when it's like fundamentally a piece of plastic. But
yeah,
I
imagine
I'm a bit
kind of you must feel conflicted, because like on one hand, if people are charging that much for your work, that's pretty flattering, but yeah, on the other hand, it's ridiculous, and price gouging and all that stuff sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I bat for both sides with all of this stuff. Like I'm a collector. I collect physical games. I sometimes will spend like 30-40 quid on an old game, very occasionally, which is a lot for an old game in my opinion.
Sure.
Because I can't resist that urge. And I'm not like a crazy collector, but I have been known to like chuck some money on a game sometimes, old games really. But then at the same time, I don't want people to not have my music. So, but yeah, it's super flattering as well. And I'm not, so yeah, it's conflicting, as you said. It's so flattering. I've never had this before with my music, but it's just cool. But the thing is just because it's up there for that price doesn't necessarily mean people want to pay it. But yeah, it's very flattering. But I'm going to do more releases in the future. And I don't really want to have this limited edition attitude, really. I want to have the physical formats just available at all times for whoever wants to buy them, because that'll hopefully keep the secondhand prices low, and the products won't be prohibitive. The price won't be prohibitive for people.
Oh yeah, that would be great. And yeah, so a follow-up question. You mentioned that this was like your first album to really catch on like this. When did you really start to see the groundswell of interest?
For this album, it was so when it came out on City Man Productions, and then that was just on Bandcamp. And then I'm a massive promoter. Like I will just, in my own time, just go crazy with trying to reach as many people as possible and trying to like get my stuff in front of as many people. I'm the opposite of shy. I'm just like, listen to this, check it out, blah, blah. And I emailed 4am Breaks. I'm not sure if you checked out the YouTube channel. I'd like to. So there's a YouTube channel called 4am Breaks, the number 4 and then AM Breaks, and they just specialize specifically in this kind of 90s noughties liquid drum and bass sound specifically, and the whole channel is just that and nothing but that, and it's a great channel. It's wonderfully curated, and the guy who runs it, I think his name's Bob. He lives in the States. He makes music. He makes really good music, and I just emailed him and said, what do you think of this? I actually made a music video, and I just chopped up loads of existing gameplay from games that inspired the album. And it's an hour long, and I just chopped it up with some funky effects. I don't know anything about video editing, really. I just made it over 2 evenings over Christmas, and sent him the video, and he was like, yeah, I like it. I'll put it up. And the album went really, really well on there. That's where I noticed the crazy interest with that video specifically.
That's great. Yeah, you reached out, took a risk, and it worked out. Yeah,
it was amazing. He was great to put that out, actually. And yeah, it's done so many great things for me having it on that channel, because people trust that channel's curation, I guess.
Yeah, I will definitely check them out if it's more stuff like yours.
Oh, this honestly, it will blow your mind how much stuff's on there. And it's all stuff that's not very well known. Like he just he digs and he finds amazing stuff. And a lot of it is video game themed. I'm just looking at it now. There's so many gems on there. I love every video he puts out. I listen to it religiously. I'm a huge fan of the channel. So check it out. Whoever's listening, 4 a.m. breaks on YouTube.
Absolutely. I'll remember. I'll make a note to put that in the description too. All right, so I think this is about the time in the episode to go to our musical break. And there's going to be another track from Pizza Hotline, and this one is called Emotion Engine. So enjoy that, listeners, and we will see you soon. Welcome back to Pixel Pizza. You just listened to Emotion Engine by our guest, Pizza Hotline, aka Harvey Jones. Or should that be the other way around? I don't know. Anyway, we are back, and I want to start up again with another recurring question that I enjoy asking, which is, what is something about your personal process, your creative process, that nobody knows?
Ah. So if I tell you, everyone will know. No, I'm not very secretive with that stuff like that. What is oh I I can't think of anything that nobody knows.
Oh, all right.
Mm,
Well, then maybe not something that nobody knows, but something you feel like is unique to you, something kind of idiosyncratic.
mm. Well, I mean, it's a really obvious one, and it's quite a boring answer, but I use so many sound effects from video games. Like I have folders and folders and folders of sound effects from my favorite games that I try and sneak in wherever I can. And it's quite an obvious thing. I mean, people hear it a lot, but it's really nice when I sometimes put one in and I think to myself, that's the sound of a chaff grenade from Metal Gear Solid 1. That's a very specific sound. I'm not sure if you remember that sound.
Vaguely. Metal Gear is like my favorite series. I can't remember. I can remember many sound effects. I can remember like the item pickup sound effects and
oh yeah,
the alerts, and I don't know. I would have to hear that one again specifically.
Yeah, when you hear it, you'll know. It sounds a bit like a flock of digital flies. It's very good. It's like dancing pixels. It sounds like it's amazing. Anyway, so like I'll put something like that in, and then like on a YouTube comment, someone will be like, they'll put a timestamp, right? 0:29 chaff grenade from Metal Gear Solid 1. And I just, that is the most amazing thing when people are able to know the reference with something that is otherwise like quite niche. And that just is really the kind of thing that gets me up in the morning, like when I hear that. And I think I got that from Burial. There's a UK artist called Burial. I don't know if you know him. He puts a lot of Metal Gear Solid, specifically Metal Gear Solid sounds in his music. You'll hear just like the sound of like bullet shells falling, just very gently in the background, and your ears will prick up, and you'll be like, "Oh, I know where that's from."
Right.
But it's definitely not unique to me. But it's something that I think is, kind of interesting, I guess.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I mean, even sort of going back to that era, Hideki Naganuma used so many different samples and Jet Set Radio and stuff, and people are still pointing out like where they came from. And
oh wow, yeah. And you're a big fan of Jet Set Radio?
Oh yeah, for sure. Classic.
You are DJ. Are you DJ Jet Set? Is that
That's right. That's right. DJ Jet Set. That's what they call me sometimes, or I'm trying to get them to call me.
And is that when you do radio shows?
Yeah, a bit.
Super cool. I love it. It's a great name. It's a great name. It's a good game. Good Dreamcast game.
Yeah, because now my last name starts with ETT, so JETT is where I got it.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so I know your work was also recently featured in print in the Sega Powered magazine. How did that come about?
Oh yeah, that was amazing. Sorry, I just burped. You might have to edit that out.
Okay. I didn't hear it. It didn't
Oh, good. I shouldn't have said anything. So Sega Powered I think it's Sega Power or Sega Powered.
I could not figure that out.
Yeah, it's Sega. It's Powered.
Oh, with an ED. Okay.
I think so. Yeah, it's a UK Sega themed magazine, and they are in print. They just put out their latest issue. It's a Virtua Fighter themed issue, and yeah, they does what it says on the tin, that everything's Sega. So they cover all Sega consoles. It's like a retro gaming mag, really, but they do some modern stuff too, and they also cover modern developers making games for old systems, which is really something I'm very interested in, because I'm a big Dreamcast player and whatever. So how did that come about? I emailed them. I bought the magazine. I was a reader of the magazine, and they're quite an old school style mag. So like you get to the back and it'll say something like, "Want to get in touch?" You know, it doesn't have a postal address like it would have in the 90s, but like it has an email. And I just emailed this guy called Dean and said, I wanted to make it relevant to Sega because my album has like a massive PlayStation controller on the cover. So I felt like it might be irrelevant in that respect. So I was like, we're doing Sega Mega Drive cases. We're doing Dreamcast cases. Do you want to cover it in the magazine? And he replied the same day and was just like, yeah, I'd love to cover that. That sounds great. So I sent them all the photos of the product photos, and they featured me, and it was just amazing. And I got a copy, and it blew my mind. You can see it on my Twitter. I think the pinned post or the pinned tweet on my Twitter is like a video of me opening the mag, showing kind of where it is. It's amazing. Super privileged for that to have happened. But again, it's just me being an addictive emailer. Like I just email everyone. Like when the album came out, I have another alias where I make techno music, and I've been doing that for a long time. And I have some contacts because of that. And I woke up one morning when Level Select came out, and I spent a whole Sunday. I mean, a whole Sunday, like from like 10 in the morning till like a working day's worth of work, emailing people and just saying, do you want to check this out? Like I emailed like all these review sites and like, you know, like Pitchfork, like stuff like that, but not as big. And nobody got back to me, which is what
that's like. That's reaching out to people for the show.
Yeah, totally. I'm sure you get a lot of that. And that's just what real life is like.
Yeah.
Because people are busy. People might not be interested in what you have to say, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I managed to get, you know, my stuff in front of a few people, but, you know, for every 20 emails you send, you get one back, as I'm sure you know, if that. Right. So like, I just kind of like people to know how like the realism behind promoting your own stuff. It's tough. Yeah, but when it happens, it's so juicy.
Oh yeah.
When it pulls off, it's amazing.
I've like gotten out of my chair and cheered when I find some kind of response.
Yeah, I was actually super delighted for you when you emailed me, because I'm the one usually emailing people, you know. So it was really nice.
No, I usually what I do is for artists is I go on Bandcamp, and there are like certain keywords I'll use, like chiptune or video game music, and just find as many cool people as I can. And there's luckily a lot on there. And
I've never, I mean, that's an obvious thing to do, but I've always found the Bandcamp search algorithm quite weird. I don't know. It never finds what I want, but maybe I should search more things like that. I don't know. But yeah, I have interest. How did you find me?
It was that format.
Okay, cool. Interesting. Because most people find me through this YouTube video. I'm just surprised that you didn't, because that seems to be the one thing that people see. Anyway, great. Amazing to be here.
For sure. So I know you've done shows live, but I saw on your Twitter, this is really interesting, you performed a set in VR chat, and I wanted to know more about that. Like, how did you get involved with that? What's it like?
Yeah, that was awesome. So cool. It's this guy who runs a company called Tube VR, Tube. He lives in Brighton, which is a city south of London. And he just messaged me on Instagram and said, do you want to do a VR gig? And I was like, what in God's name is that? Like, I had an idea of what it might be. And I was like, oh yeah, of course that exists. You know, we're in this world we live in. And of course that's a thing. I just never heard of it. Right. I guess VR is quite a small, like a closed space. If you don't have it, then you don't know much about it, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not fed much by the algorithms that decide what we look at these days. I'm not fed much VR content by those. So therefore I don't know much about it, but I'm super interested in it, but I haven't really gone into it before, because of money, but also because I have a girlfriend and a baby, and like I feel like it's quite an insular activity.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to get it since I've done this gig. So the way it worked is he messaged me and said, you know, do you want to do a set? I run it. He basically runs a club night that is every 2 weeks. It's called Tube VR. You should check it out. You don't have to have VR to see it. You can see the club on Twitch live. That's streamed. So it's like a kind of shots of the club, and you can listen to the music. But if you want to be there and be in a first person perspective and have control of your limbs, obviously, and stuff, and you can dance, you need to have VR equipment. So I didn't have any of that. But I DJ'd from my room. I had like a controller. I usually DJ mix records, but I didn't have my turntable set up, and I don't have much of this music on vinyl actually. But I borrowed like a controller from a friend, and I mixed some stuff, and it was amazing. He just kind of said, you know, at 10 o'clock, I want you to go live. I just streamed it over OBS to him to like a special URL, and I could see the club like dancing to my music, all these avatars of like people and stuff like that. I think they have a max cap of 80 people per club, because any more than that and it would just crash it, because there's far too much rendering that needs to happen, and I guess it's a super precarious thing because everyone's together in this game, and like if there's any more than 80 people, and apparently VR chat, is it a software VR chat? Yeah. Apparently it's very poorly optimized. I guess maybe there's not like the mega bucks in VR yet, maybe from a consumer level, because VR chat's like a free service as I understand it. But in 5 or 10 years, money will just pour into it. The more convenient VR gets and the cheaper it gets, the more money will get put in. And, you know, I'm sure in 10 years, there'll be like the most unbelievable VR club nights that we've ever seen. Definitely. It will be so cool. But it was a great experience. It really blew my mind. It was relatively chilled out because I was just in my bedroom on my own with the lights off, with music playing. But I did feel like I was there, and it was really, really cool. I would definitely do it again. And I'd recommend anyone to go to one or just to watch one. I think Tube VR is the biggest one there is. Like they do the most events, and they're the biggest events apparently. So yeah, I'm sure you'll find them with a quick Google.
Yeah, I have a Mac, so it's off limits for me for getting in there, but I definitely want to see it live on Twitch.
Yeah. I'm Mac too, so I had to watch on Twitch, but yeah, definitely just even watch it. It's just interesting, and you can chat, you know, on the Twitch thing. So
cool. So I mean, moving forward, have you ever or in the past been given the opportunity or request to work on like a proper game? Because I think that would be such a cool next step.
Yeah, that is exactly what I want to happen next. Really, that's my it's something I've been trying to do for a long time. Actually, I have worked on a few games in the past. I made the sounds. I did the sound design and the soundtrack for 2 games, but they were independent Android phone apps, and that was just over Facebook. And one of them was called Bunny Hop. I don't think it exists anymore. I think it's gone from there, sadly. And I made the music for that. This is when I was a student. This was like 5 years ago, maybe. Way before I was making this sort of music. I'll see if it's on there. I just have a look. Bunny Hop, it was called. Doesn't look like it. I think it's gone. Yeah, I thought it was gone. I looked a couple of years ago. Bunny Hop Light. Yeah, I haven't heard from. Yeah, I think it's gone, sadly. And then I made another one called Dare to Cross, and I don't think that's on there either. And it was a clone. It was quite a crappy clone of no, that's not on there either. Doesn't look like it. It was a clone of like Frogger, if you remember Frogger, just Crossy Road. And I did the sound and the music for that as well. And that was just like a student making a game and needed some music, and I found them on Facebook. I think there was this Facebook page called Game Developers Seeking Sound Music, and it was just a meeting place for people, and I was obsessed with it when I was a student. I really wanted to work on video game music, and I probably worked on maybe 6 or 7 games, but only 2 of them came out. And then that was when I realized for indie developers there's like a high The success rate is low, which I can completely empathize with, because making a game is not a straightforward thing. But yeah, so it's Dare to Cross and Bunny Hop. But I'd love to work on like the soundtrack for like a futuristic racer, or like Wipeout or something.
Yeah,
That would be amazing. Yeah, or any kind of like modern low poly game would be interesting. I've put a few feelers out. I've emailed a few people, but with no success yet. But fingers crossed that I kind of get some interest, or I get an email one day, and I would jump at that opportunity. I really, really would.
Oh yeah. Have you heard of one of my previous guests, Marcus Ciactro?
No.
Oh yeah, he does a lot of low poly N64 type of stuff. I don't know if he's looking for a composer. He's worked with a few, but I would try to hook you guys up, because I feel like it's a perfect match.
That would be amazing. How do I I'll make a note of the name. How do I spell his name?
His name is Marcus Horn, and his game developer name is Ciactro, Siactro.
Fantastic. And I can just find him on Twitter or something.
Yeah.
Amazing. I will look him up. That's cool. Yeah. Anything like that would just blow my mind, to work on something like that. And to do this, like, I love doing sound design as well, because I've worked as a sound designer for a while.
Oh yeah.
Making like sound libraries, and I've done freelance work for like, adverts, sound design, and like I've done linear media, quite a lot of linear media, but just not much non-linear media.
Yeah, I'm sure it's different, but I'm sure having done it in some form would be helpful in getting a leg up. So yeah, I mean, aside from that, where do you sort of see your music going from here?
I'm working on my second album right now.
Great.
I'm working at the same time. I'm working on a lot of collabs with people who've got in touch, which is exciting. I've had to limit who I'm working with, because I can't take on too much at the moment, because it's just life, but and my job and stuff. But I want to develop. I had another alias, and that other alias I've worked on for like 5 years, maybe longer, and it's been going great. The alias is El Choop. If anyone's interested, it's EL space CHOOP, and I make like deep techno, kind of dark, kind of interesting sound designy techno. Just check me into SoundCloud, you'll find some stuff. But I'm focusing more on Pizza Hotline now. I like that kind of music still, but I'm putting all my energy into Pizza Hotline, and I'm just going to try and do as much as I can and try to make as much music as I can, because at the moment I'm really feeling very passionate about this kind of music. So I want to make hay while the sun shines, because like, I don't know about you, but I can't really control what I'm passionate about. It just kind of happens.
When you have that spark, you just got to use it for all it's worth, because you never know when it'll come again.
Yeah, exactly. And like in 2 years, I might not be interested in this music. That's unlikely, but that has happened. I'm quite a pick it up, get as much as I can out of it and throw it away kind of person. Like I'm on to the next thing, but
right.
I feel like with this style of music, it's going to be a long sustained thing. And next, the most recent thing that's happening next would be I'm launching merchandise. So I'm doing Level Select t-shirts and another line of Level Select cassettes. They're going to come out this Friday, actually. I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, then they've already come out.
Yeah, this podcast will probably going up like the following week after we've done this recording. So they'll
cool. So maybe you've picked up a tape, maybe you've seen them. I'm just going to do an open pre-order to see how many orders come in. But I feel like it might go well, hopefully. And I can get some cool tapes out there. But yeah, I think moving on to the next album, I have loads of ideas for it. The first album was very PS1 centric. I'm tempted to make the second album very PS2 centric, but I'm not even sure if I want to have the second album as a heavy concept album. Maybe I'll just make some music and see what it sounds like, and just have a general album. I don't really know yet. I don't tend to kind of plan this stuff. I just make it, and then when it's all made, I step back and look at it, and then I kind of have an idea of what it should be, if you know what I mean. That's what happened with Level Select. I didn't really have a serious concept planned, but it just ended up that way. I was just making music that I thought sounded cool, and I wanted to make it to feel like I was inserted in the narrative that I was trying to explore, I guess. That narrative of background music that is playing while you're selecting a character or selecting a level. And I was trying to reinsert that, like I was trying to insert that into like a modern electronic music construct or context. That's what I wanted to do with it, and give it like a new life as per se. That's kind of what I was doing, but I didn't really know I was doing that at the time. I was just making music.
You managed.
Thanks. I'm excited for the future, really.
Yeah, it's got me thinking, like, what is the specific sound of PS2 games?
It's a hard one, that, because I've been digging that. Well, it's diverse because it's got the biggest catalog of the biggest library of any console that has ever existed. It's got like over 4,000 different games. I think what is the anchoring sonic palette for it would probably be the BIOS sounds. So the sounds that are within the console. And
like the main menus. Yes, that's iconic.
So iconic and so stylish and so distinct. I think for me, that is the sound of the PS2 rather than its library. And I think that, like, I don't know what I was trying to say there, but what I wanted to say was, have you ever sat and listened to the ambience? I mean, you have probably loads of times when you were younger.
Oh yeah,
but the ambience,
when I was younger, not these days. I'd have to go back.
You can go on YouTube and just type in PS2 ambience, and there's like a 2-hour-long video. And I used to put it on and go to sleep to it, and it's so amazing. And it's
really nice.
It's really cool. So I think I want to incorporate stuff like that into it, and I don't know, just there's so many ideas. I just don't even know. I'm just gonna make some music and see what happens. But as for the sound of the PS2, it'd probably be that, wouldn't it? And if do you make music?
No, I've always wished I could. I played guitar when I was a teenager, but it didn't really stick with me. So,
well, you never know. I wouldn't like cast it off, because using software can be amazingly intuitive, and like there's people I know who would never even dare pick up an instrument that can make amazing music with software. And by no means is that like, we're past that in humanity, I think, where well, there's a lot of people who think this, but like, if you don't play a real instrument, then you're not a real musician. That's the most archaic and strange way to look at it. I think that's just people hanging on to like odd 100-year-old traditions. But you don't, no one should ever feel that way. But you should definitely just pop some software, even if it's very simple software, you could just begin making stuff with. If you fancy it, really.
I'd love to try. Yeah, you've definitely got me thinking now about getting that.
Or go on a course. On like a short course, like an evening course where you do 1 day a week learning how to make stuff with Logic or Ableton or something. If you like video games, you'll be really good at using a DAW. You really will.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try it for sure. So I guess starting to wrap up now, you probably also know this question, which is a very important question, given that we are both pizza heads, and that is, where is your favorite pizza place?
My favorite pizza place, it changes, at the moment, there is this place in London. It's not going to be anywhere that maybe you know, because it's like, I think this place.
Oh no, that's what I'm more interested in. Don't
okay, cool. Yeah, I don't want to be a pizza slut or anything. But in all honesty, I haven't eaten Pizza Hut in like 15 years. I don't know what it tastes like. I can't remember. But there is a place in London, and for pizza, it's like, it's not all about the best pizza. It's like a pizza that's good, but it isn't too expensive and isn't too this, that, or the other. It's because you can get a flawless pizza for like twice the amount of any other pizza. But for me, it's all about a well-priced pizza,
Sure.
But maybe won't be quite as good, but decent. There's this place called Il Basilio. It's ILBACILIO, I think.
Mhm.
I just found it on delivery. It's like £8 for a margarita, and
Ooh.
it's like a wood-fired margarita, and it's so good. That's really nice. But if you visit London, there is a chain here, but it's like a kind of trendy chain, a
Mhm.
chain with like higher standards than a normal fast food place, and it's called Franco Manca. Do they have it in the States?
No, never heard of it.
I think it's Franco Manca or
Oh.
Franca Manca, Franco Manca. Um, and their pizza's really good. It's all sourdough pizza,
Mm.
and that's like trendy hipster pizza, which
Yeah.
is undeniably delicious. But their pizzas are kind of getting on for the like, 12, 13 kind of pound area, which is no problem with if it's good. But then at the same time, we were all in that kind of scenario where we want a real greasy, cheap ass kind of like
Oh yeah.
just big, cheap, deliciously
Good stuff.
budget. Yeah. And there's this place called Emparo Pizza. And I live in Finsbury Park in London, in North London. And there's this place called Emparo Pizza, and it's like a 17 or 18-inch pizza for like £10. It's giant, and it's a dirty old thing, I gotta say. But I've been seen to enjoy one of those. But maybe it might interest you as to where I got the name Pizza Hotline.
Oh yeah.
It's actually a pizza place in South London. My
No
girlfriend used to
kidding.
live. Yeah. But I didn't mention it when you asked me for my favorite pizza. I didn't mention it, and it's because the pizza is terrible.
Oh no.
So bad. It's so bad. But they've got the coolest signage. It's like
Oh, yeah.
basically like 3 or 4 years ago, my girlfriend. It's in a place called Herne Hill in South London,
Mm.
and my girlfriend lived there and by Pizza Hotline, and I came around the corner, and I saw it in the dark, and it has a neon sign, a red neon sign that says Pizza Hotline, and there's a telephone, like those old kind of 1950s, like are they called like a phone with a ring on it? Yeah, rotary phone, and it has that. And it's just the most amazing signage, and
Cool.
I was obsessed with this place. But I wasn't obsessed with the pizza. I was obsessed with like the way it looked, and I used to buy the pizza when I was out drinking or when I was drunk, only when I was drunk, and it would just turn into this like inside joke in my house where like I'd buy it, eat it, completely regret it, and feel sick the next morning, and like I would just continuously do it, and I had to stop. But anyway, I'm gonna go check it out one day and just try one of the pizzas, but I'm pretty confident they're still gonna be awful.
I hope they've improved, but
Yeah, Pizza Hotline. If you want to see a picture of it, there's a picture of it on my Instagram,
oh,
of the original Pizza Hotline place. But it's quite a common name for a pizza place. I've been Googling it and like, because I was a bit worried that like I'm taking that name and it belongs to other businesses, but there's like so many of them.
oh yeah. I
It's
had
got
to like specifically when I was Googling stuff to think of interview questions, I had to specifically put in Pizza Hotline level select or Pizza Hotline musician in order to get your stuff.
Yeah, I know. And I'm going through this problem at the moment because I want to have a website or just like a landing page, and like every variation of Pizza Hotline you can imagine has already been gobbled up. So like I'm just trying to be a bit creative with the URL. Yeah, to come up with a new one that's not too complicated.
Yeah. That's a lot to think about.
Anyway, what's your favorite pizza?
Oh, I mean, back in New York, I've probably mentioned it before where I'm from. There's this great place. I think there are like three of them. It started in Connecticut, but it expanded into New York, and it's called Frank Pepe's. And they have this great thin slice. It's kind of cut into a square,
Wow.
and they have these pies that are tomato pies, which is just tomato sauce and like garlic, and that's really good. But they
I'm
also
looking at a picture of one right now. Carry on.
yeah, it's amazing. I miss it so much being out here in California now. Hopefully
Wow.
when I go back for the holidays I can have some. We'll see.
Oh, I'm gonna
That's
check
my
out when I go to New York next. I'm gonna go.
Oh yeah.
It looks really authentic.
It is.
This is what the place I was talking about, that Il Basilio, is just so authentic. And their pizzas, they don't put loads of crap all over them. It's just very few ingredients.
Right.
I love that.
All right. Well, when I go to London, I'll check that out.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. How much does Frank charge you for a pizza?
I don't remember. It's kind of moderate. I would say it's, on the slightly higher than average, but
Mhm.
not ridiculously expensive.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I like New York. It's cool. I've been a couple of times, but I've never really sampled the pizza. I know it's probably a
Oh, you
crime.
gotta.
I know. I can't wait to go back. Hopefully I'll go soon. But I love America. I absolutely love it. I've been quite a few times. I
Mhm.
love the people and I love the food, and I just love how the culture's so varied and different, and it's just so big. I love it.
That's definitely one of the things that I like about my country, even though I'm sure we all have our criticisms with the countries that we live in. But I
Yeah,
think,
sure.
the diversity, the feeling of like a melting pot in the United States, and that feeling of like, everybody's all working towards the same thing, even though we come from different backgrounds. I like that.
Yeah, that's lovely. And like I got that vibe in New York big time
Oh,
when I was there.
especially New York. Yeah, that's where you see
Yeah,
it the most, I would say.
I love it, love it, love it. Cool.
Cool. So, yeah, thank you so much for joining me, Harvey. This has been an absolute blast. Uh, and yeah, if you want to plug your stuff one more time, so people
Yeah,
can remember.
yes, thanks for having me.
Sure.
Lovely to chat with you and learn more about you and
Yeah,
um,
likewise.
what you're doing. And I'm looking forward to listening to more of your episodes. I checked out a few this week and they were great. Um, so if you want to look me up, the best way is probably I mean, I'm on Instagram and Twitter. I don't have Facebook because it's a messy hellhole of a thing
Oh,
that I don't
yeah.
want anything to do with anymore for now. So yeah, Instagram or Twitter, just type in Pizza Hotline. You should find me. Probably the easiest way to find any of my stuff is to just go on YouTube and type in. I think if you just type in Pizza Hotline, it comes up. Although I can't trust that because all of the things we're offered are tailored to us so heavily.
Oh, that's true.
So if you type in Pizza Hotline Level Select, you'll find my album on this channel called 4am Breaks, and from there you can grab all of the links in the description. But apart from that, that's me. And yes, amazing to chat with you, Jared.
Absolutely. Thanks so much again. This has been really awesome. And this has been another great episode of Pixel Pizza. Come back next week for another slice, as I like to say. And we are ending off with another track from Level Select, and this is Shadow Moses.